try to warn people never to wear black and come in the shop.
Yeah.
Because they'll be filthy.
Do you want to do that?
What?
Color? I haven't gone over it yet.
Then no.
Alright.
But the color we apply by hand, it's not sprayed on. I have bottles of stain. Sorry. Not perfectly well organized, David.
No problem.
No working shop is perfectly.
So we have bottles of stain in assorted colors. And maybe we should do the...
Yeah.
You like it? All right.
Touch it up tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. So let me find the Norm Stockton blue.
It's Justin.
That's a Justin?
Yeah.
All right. So yellow.
It's a Justin Rain's signature base.
Yellow.
Wow.
The Bartolini BX is 2J, and then he's got a worked on preamp, like his customized preamp from Bartolini.
Okay. Let's just stick this in the rack. We'll get some rags.
Yeah.
So Mike is going to stain a body in front of us. Wow.
Okay. So this is a Justin Rain's signature. And it's a yellow to burgundy fade. In honor of our recently departed dear friend Chris Hofschneider, who in the music business was known as Lumpy. He was Richie Sambora's guitar tech for 21 years.
Oh, yeah, I met him
Yeah,
once.
you met Chris years ago, right?
Yes, I met him once.
So Chris died a year ago, September.
No, 2 years ago.
2 years ago now, yeah. All right, so that's the yellow. So this is basically how the color's done on all the instruments. So it's rubbed in by hand and it's blended that way. Yeah. And then once the color dries, yep. We have an epoxy base coat that goes on it. So I usually get the top looking the way I want it to. And then I'll go back and do the sides and back and make sure that all the color matches there. Good catch. Actually, maybe grab a Q-tip.
Q-tips.
That's a trade secret.
Want another glove?
It's all right.
No matter what you do, you end up kind of wearing that stuff
Yeah.
in your hands for a while.
Yeah. No, I haven't.
And my next artist is nominated for the best album, blues album, I should say, in this year's award. Sue Foley, the album is The Ice Queen. It was one of my favorite albums that came out last year. And from it, here's a track she did as a duet with Billy F. Gibbons. This is Fool's Gold, all Bluesville.
So basically, bolt-ons respond a lot differently than neck-throughs. I made a very credible neck-through for 20 some odd years, and I enjoyed building them. But when I left Tobias and Gibson took it over, it was just time to do something different. I didn't want to make copies of myself. I don't like making copies of anything.
Sure.
And so it seemed like the right time to try to develop a bolt-on that felt like a neck-through, was very, very comfortable to play, and responded the way a bolt-on should respond. And the difference in the response is in the low end. The low end seems tighter in a bolt-on because there's less fundamental in the mix. And so your ear fills in what it needs rather than having all of the low end information rumble around. So it seems like the low end is tighter. The object, though, also in this is to give it enough sustain and fullness to sound like really big low end without getting in the way.
So,
That was the main reason.
Is the electronics kind of adjusted to your design?
They have been, and they've changed over the last 25 years.
And we're constantly working with Bartolini and now Clyde, who owns Bartolini,
Yeah.
to develop things as tastes change and as our tastes change.
Yeah.
To sort of stay on top of
So
it.
the old unit from the Tobias was a really good unit, but it didn't do some things that I wanted. And so after Tobias was over and I started MTD, I spent a lot of time with Bill Bartolini working on another system that had more fidelity, more headroom, more clarity, and was more of a studio quality system. And that's what we had. Took a couple of years to develop, but it got there. And that's basically what we're using now, with a few modifications to increase battery life and stability.
Yeah. What about you have been working with a lot of artists like Norm Stockton.
Yeah.
How do you develop the signature model with them, like the process and what the thought behind it?
With Andrew, it was a little harder because he has so many bases and likes so many different things. But we finally settled on something that suited him, and it's a process. It's not something, oh, I'll just build you this, and it'll be perfect.
I mean, with every build we make,
Yeah.
Usually we end up talking to the customer a lot about what kind of tone they want. In fact, that's how I like to start. You can come and ask what wood. You can tell me what woods you want, and people have a pretty good idea of it in general. But usually we try to start with what kind of tone you want, and the woods will inform that.
Yeah. With Norm, it was more specific. Norm wanted two things, and one was a sort of traditional MTD voice and a rock and roll voice that we didn't normally work at. So he spent time with Clyde sorting out the mid-range and the coil cut and all of the parts of this active system.
The Bartolini.
Yeah. So it's basically two J-bass coils inside the soap bar.
Yep.
So that when you cut them, it drops to a jazz bass. It's also an active split, so that when you cut the coil, there's no volume drop.
Wow.
I like the volume drop a little more. I like to hear the difference. In a studio and on stage, what Norm does is amazing, and it works fine. But I don't play on stage, so I have different requirements.
What about Bubby's Super 5? Is that
We
something
built a Super 5.
I wanted to make something a little more finger style oriented and rock and roll oriented, less of like a slap bass. And you can slap on it fine, it sounds good, but without the neck pickup, it's not. It's just more oriented to playing back towards the bridge. And that's.
Bubby plays fingerstyle a lot.
Yeah.
He does slap some, but not mostly.
And yeah.
He wanted something that was more articulate. He liked the first Super we made, and decided that was his favorite bass of all. So then it was just
figuring out the wood combination.
Figuring out the combination that worked best for him.
He really liked the dryness and the punch of an all maple build.
Yeah.
They tend to be a little bit heavier, right?
Yeah, it's
a little heavy. But it's not ridiculous.
That's true.
Just a heavier bass.
Yeah. You can't change how the wood comes out of the ground sometimes.
Yeah. But the maple body is very dry and punchy, and he likes that for fingers. And then the cosmetics of it were partly the result of his becoming otaku. And so the first one.
He loves Dragon Ball, so the first one was the first one we actually tried to match Goku's hair.
Yeah, it's gold.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. And let's talk when we talk about new models. Daniel, I knew that you have designed the new models, which is very interesting. It debuted at NAMM show, and what do you show us, man? Wow.
So I decided to go ahead and make a headless. For a number of reasons. One, I wanted to see if I could make one. And I had had some requests for this over the years, and I wanted to do it and still kind of keep it in brand. I wanted it to still look on stage like an MTD. So I incorporated the same sort of horn style that we've had for years, and then just changed the body a little. For example, it doesn't have a belly cut, but it still sits well on you, either classical over the knee or hanging. And I made an abridged headstock. It's not a whole headstock.
Yeah.
But hip shot headless system, and it's available with every option that we currently offer on a regular 535. This model in particular is a 534, 24 fret, and
so there will be like 4, 5, 6 string version.
there will be 4, 5, 6, 34, 35, 30 super pickups, a regular proprietary Bartolini system. I mean, obviously the shells are smaller, but it'll be the same internal stuff. And currently it uses double ball and strings.
We're working on a custom system that will allow regular strings.
But will be able to be put on a bass if you
retrofit,
purchase one with double ball ends.
Cool.
And,
But like, you have a particular style of music or musicians that you want to work with, or it's all styles?
I found that a lot of like technical metal guys really liked the headless stuff, but at NAMM it was well received by kind of everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the advantages of it, if you're a touring musician, is that it fits in a guitar bag.
Yeah.
So, like our short scale stuff,
It's really small and easy.
it's easier to travel with.
So you can get it on a plane?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
But the short scales do that too. It's just it was a nice. Sort of worked out nice that this also fit in guitar bags.
It did.
What?
I said it did.
Yeah. I started here about 8 or 9 years ago, full time, and I've been learning from you the entire time, and I thought that I should add to the legacy and everything that we've made. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to put my spin on something.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we should have a few more of his creations coming up by next year as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, then we're expecting Daniel's giving more creations to the MTDs and creating more models coming up. So thank you today with Mike and Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you for making all these amazing basses.
Thanks for coming up here to visit.
Hey, thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah. Braving the cold.
And enduring the it's cold.
I'll put more clothes on. My God. All right. Yeah. Thanks.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.